All right, everybody. My guest today is a journalist, entrepreneur, and business content expert. He is the CEO of Skift, a travel industry media company he founded in 2012. There, he leads a team of journalists, researchers, and other professionals who provide some of the industry's most critical news, data, and events for stakeholders around the world. Rafat Ali, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you here. Skift is absolutely essential reading as far as I'm concerned. It is certainly part of my morning routine to tear through every part of that morning newsletter I get every day. So thank you, number one, for the service you've provided to our industry. It's really been invaluable. There's a lot I want to talk to you about today, but before we get into sort of topics of the moment, I'd love for you to tell our audience how you made your way from a background in computer science to journalism and now ultimately, being a media mogul in the travel industry.
Yeah, I don't know the mogul part, but thank you for that. Thank you for that generous intro. So, uh, uh, born in UK, grew up initially in US, and then grew up for most of my childhood and early youth in India. My family's Indian, um, which is where I did my computer engineering, what they call BTech here, and didn't want to be a programmer because back in those days, this is a long time ago, in India, the opportunities where you work for like an outsourcing firm, and I didn't see myself sitting behind a desk, which ironically we all sit behind a desk now.
Right.
But and coding, in hindsight, I'm just reading all the stuff about how AI is taking over coding, and so anyway, I'm glad I didn't go that path. And so wanted to become a journalist, and that's what I ended up being. First in India in the B2B media world, and then came to US to do my master's in IU, and stayed over, and I've been here now since 1999. So what is it now? 26. So 27 years, going into 27th year. And have built a life here. This is my second media information company. I've always spent my life in B2B media. So like you focused on a sector, going deeper into a sector. The first company I built and sold was not in travel. It was in the business of media. It was a media company focused on the business of media that I sold to Guardian out of UK back in 2008. And then left 2010, traveled for 2 years, started Skift in 2012, as you said, and then now 13 years in, the humble vision back then was we wanted to be the Bloomberg of travel. And I would say we're sort of well on our way, 13 and a half years in, spanning all different parts of the travel industry, news, information, news, research, conferences, marketing services, advisory, executive search, a bunch of other stuff, podcasts like you.
Yeah.
And virtual, about 100 people in 17 different countries. A very global business. I'm based in New York, but our team is based in all over the place.
Yeah.
And a lot of what we focus on is sort of the intersection of tech and marketing, but also larger forces in the world that have an impact on the travel industry. And oh my God, 26 is the year where all of it is happening. And so certainly the larger forces are bearing on travel. Unfortunately, not the best of ways, and I'm sure we're going to talk about that. And so, yeah, that's a lot of what we focus on.
Yeah. Well, it is really fantastic work. There are so many forces impacting travel right now. You have written a few times over the past couple months in Skift, particularly about the affordability crisis, what I would call a crisis of affordability in travel today. Can you, I'm sure our listeners all kind of intuitively know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Describe the situation you're seeing that makes you say, like, guys, something's not okay here.
Yeah, I mean, since the start, if you remember back in 10 years ago, when the sort of baggage fees first came in, and I'm talking airlines, and everything became sort of upsell.
Mhm.
And I think we're at the logical other end of that cycle that started, which was unbundling of fares. I mean, it started a long time ago with low-cost carriers, but the baggage fees particularly was just something that consumers grasp onto. And now it's obviously non-controversial, but still people, it's not like people like it a lot. It's become the norm. And I think travel brands over the years have figured out, using more technology and more pricing algorithms, and now obviously AI coming in, consumers' propensity to pay, whether they like it or not, or their desperation to pay for extra services, if you will. And I think that nickel and diming, if you want to call it that, because it's really not nickel or dime,
Right.
has caught up with the industry in many ways. Has caught up, I think, in general with the larger economy. I think the article, couple of stories that I wrote that I know you have read because you messaged me after, it was last year when I went to Vegas, and just was disgusted by how expensive it's become.
Yeah.
And we're seeing the effects. I mean, you know this because you cover the industry as much as we do. Vegas is in trouble.
Yeah.
It's not just because the Canadians are not coming. It's because it's become unaffordable to go. If you're going to charge $18 for a bottle of water in a hotel room, there's going to be some effect.
Yeah.
And it's going to catch up with you at some point. So I think the affordability crisis, which is happening in cities. I live in New York City. If you know, the last election for the mayor was run on affordability platform.
Yeah.
And it is a real issue. It's a real issue. I mean, and I think it's being felt across the country. I would even take it further. It's being felt in many different parts of the Western world, particularly. And I think our daily lives are not, our travel lives are not insulated from the daily experience of us living. And it's, I think, boiling over. And as much as travel brands wanted to extract the maximum post-COVID because they were shut and hurt for a while, and there was a consumer demand to pay for it. I think at some point, like Delta just reported their earnings this week, and we're at the start of the year, and the earnings cycle is starting. And they said, like, the K-shaped economy in the world is very real in travel as well. As in, when they call luxury resilient, that also hides a larger truth, which is a lot of people. And the article that I wrote, that I think this time you messaged me, was about how how the U.S. hotel industry has abandoned the middle class.
Yes.
And and I purely talk mostly about sort of the chain hotels. And if you look at the history of sort of branded chain hotels in America, middle class consumers, when car became a modes of transport, and they, the road trip became a thing, that's where the middle class started traveling in U.S. in more larger numbers. And that middle class has been abandoned by the industry, as you know, because a lot of them have been priced out. And the luxury part of the market is doing well, but you can see in the results, the lower end and the middle end of the market is not doing well.
Yeah.
And so that was, I think, long way of saying a lot of the larger issues of affordability in the economy, in our daily lives, have entered into travel. And why wouldn't they? I mean, the travel will say labor costs have gone up, and cost of everything has gone up. This is obviously true as well. And so I don't know if travel alone can solve it, but at some point, this just because you can price tickets and services 10 different ways and upsell 10 different ways doesn't mean it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Long term for your own brand. I'm not even talking like a public service. Like, as I said, Vegas is a pure example of it. And I know this for a fact, that the Las Vegas Tourism Board is worried, and have told their hoteliers who sit on its board that, look, this is what is happening. You have priced out so many people by your habits, and there has to be some sort of a reset. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So dig in more to the risk to your own brand of continuing to pursue maximum, profit from every transaction. How do you see that creating risk for both those large brands, but also everybody else who's following in their footsteps. How long down the road could this take, before it comes back to really hurt people?
Here's the other part, though, which is, again, unfortunate. As you know, a lot of consolidation has happened.
Mhm.
So if you're going to fly from, and I don't know the routes from where you are in Kentucky, Lexington, but like I bet 10 years ago, there were a lot more direct flights from Lexington Airport to 10 other places,
Sure.
which are gone.
Yeah.
That's because these airlines have consolidated. So as much as me as a consumer may not be satisfied with the service, we don't have a choice. Particularly this is true in airlines. In hotels, it's a little bit different because there's just a lot more choices. So here's how it's going to hurt. I'm not going to go to Vegas. Like, why bother going to Vegas? The only reason for me to go to Vegas these days is just to go for a conference, as you know.
Right.
And even that, like, we ourselves as a company have thought of doing conferences in Vegas, and we don't do it because it's like our own personal experience has been so bad. So I guess Vegas lost money as a result of it.
Yeah.
Vegas, not the city, but the people, the hotels that are in there, or the spending in the local restaurants, etc. All of that is gone because it never came into our consideration set.
Yeah.
There's direct and indirect effect that happens as a result of it. Another example, just recently, I went with my two young boys, literally like 3 weeks ago, to Puerto Rico, and I took Delta, assumed that I had booked the tickets and they would put the three of us together. Turned out at the airport, and I bought the cheapest rate. It was expensive because it's the end of the year, and this is, it's like 3 times the price of what a regular time would be, but whatever. And I got to the airport and they weren't together. Like, one is a 5-year-old, one is a 10-year-old, and me.
Oh, goodness.
And so they weren't charging for it. But again, it leaves a bad taste in the mouth. I'm going to take JetBlue again, which is what I used to take when I go to Puerto Rico. Yeah. So again, these small things add up in people's minds, especially if they have choices. And then they just go to the place that treats them better. Yeah. So I think that generally is what it is. I just wrote this article that just published literally right before this recording started, that Travel's wallet share, this is US data, so credit card data from like 3 different banks for last year's credit card spending, and Travel's spending as part of it. So one of the things that the conventional wisdom became after COVID is that, people have prioritized experiences over things. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you have heard the cliche. We have obviously said that 100 times. But the numbers now are showing that Travel's wallet share has decreased in the last 2 years for 4% points. Wow. From 12% to 8%, which basically means in the hierarchy of needs and wants of a human being in US, or at least the credit card spending person in US, mm-hmm. it's fallen down to what it was before. Before the surge of experiences over things happened, which you can parse it 10 different ways, which is, 1, has become more expensive, travel. 2, everything else has become expensive, so we better have to spend on our regular daily needs and wants, right, of living. And 3, that travel has come back to where it was in the hierarchy of needs and wants. So there are many ways to parse it. And I think people may travel less, or just travel to cheaper places. I mean, one of the things that, and I'll stop here because I will continue on 10 different threads, but US domestic tourism during summer has been hurt for the last few years because the traveler that can afford is making a calculation that I can go to Europe and for cheaper, and if not even cheaper, I can go at the same price that I was going to spend in US, but get an international vacation. Yeah. versus staying in the US because things are just more expensive. So, these are all these threads that we've been covering that I sort of I'm trying to bring together, not just in stories, but in my own mind as well.
Yeah. So, how much flexibility do you think travel vendors have? I realize it's different at the airline level than at the hotel level where you've got thousands of independent operators. How much flexibility do they have to say, okay, you know what, we can lower these rates, we can get back to normal? Or are they going to say, our hands are tied because of our labor costs and our supply chain costs, and we can't bring down rates or else we're going to lose money?
Well, I mean, there's also then the variable that many of these are public companies which have a fiduciary duty to their shareholders. So they whether it's real or not, that's what they point to. It's like our job is to increase our margins and increase our profits more and more. Airlines can say they make very little profits. Probably there's enough truth to that part. Hotels have sort of more leeway there. How much flexibility do they have? Probably not. I think them divorced from the larger economic reality of the country is hard. And I think the affordability crisis that has become a buzz phrase here in New York is true all across the country.
Yeah.
So I think, labor shortages are real. The country, without going into the politics of it, has decided that they're going to import less and less labor. So that's going to become even more of an issue.
Yeah.
I think the only, as much as we fear about AI taking over jobs, we may have no choice but for AI to take over jobs that are not being filled. So, particularly service industry jobs, or at least the parts that can be automated.
Yeah. So if a robot delivers dinner to your table at a restaurant, you're okay with that?
Personally, I think depends on the context. If I'm going for a business trip to one of the conferences that you guys are putting together, I don't care.
Yeah.
But if I'm going with my kids, well, kids may be happy because they think it's like a gizmo coming in, which they do because these days there's some of those gimmicks. So I've been to some of those restaurants, and for now they're just gimmicks, as you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I may take efficiency because of shortage of labor, where things have become so inefficient and takes time, etc. And if as a consumer, honestly, if it lowers my costs, I may just be okay with it, as bad as it is for other stakeholders in the ecosystem.
Yeah. So you mentioned that this is an issue in other parts of specifically the Western, developed Western world. Are there?
Yeah, I mean, this is Spain, Italy are being hollowed out, as you know.
Yeah.
Villages are emptied out. In some of the other countries, it's still a little better only because immigration is coming in, so people have come in and there's labor. But I mean, UK is ground zero for this. Like, they did the biggest own goal in history, which is the Brexit thing that they did, and people stopped coming, and now they have a challenge with labor all across, and the country's in a bad shape. I mean, in general, the thing that's going for America, for all the challenges they are in America, the economic power and economic might is still there and continues to, as you know, the last year, the growth has been very, very good. And just if you look at the broader numbers, a lot of it is driven by AI investments. People are saying as much as half of it is driven by AI investments. And so it may be temporary. But in UK and other Western countries, that's not the case. I mean, US economic might still gives it an opportunity to make the underlying social fabric and of the country right, in terms of safety net, in terms of affordability, because we just have the money to do it. It requires a will at this point, and right. At the larger level. In other countries, they don't have a choice because they may not have the money to do it.
Now, how does that affect the affordability of some countries, let's say outside the developed West? Is it still relatively affordable to visit Thailand or South
Yeah,
America.
yeah, it is. It is. And I mean, look, if you go to, for instance, and it depends on the currencies as well. So like Turkey, which has become even in your group travel world, has become a big destination now by many counts, is like one among the top five visited countries in the world, which is incredible.
Hmm.
Um, the Turkish lira has been low, and that's why Americans and everybody else are going there. Um, it has become the cities have become expensive because these cities are going through a boom, like Istanbul, for instance.
Hmm.
Um, Still cheap, but not as cheap as, I don't know, 2 years ago. Um, South America still continues to be cheap, but again, the prices have risen, whether it's Medellin in Colombia or Buenos Aires, where a lot of Westerners have gone and actually are living as expats as well. Um, Southeast Asia, Southeast Asia is still cheap, but they're booming. I mean, Vietnam, I'm sure in your world you've heard, is one of the fastest growing tourism countries in the world.
Yeah.
Huge boom going. Um, Japan, the same thing. I mean, every second person that I hear is either going to Japan, in Japan, or just came back from Japan over the
Absolutely.
last year.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the case with Iceland 5 years ago.
Right.
And so Japan is the new Iceland, and then a lot of it is driven by just currency that's there. So I forgot your original question.
Yeah, I was just asking about places in the world that have a better
Yeah,
affordability
true. Yeah,
opportunity.
yeah. India, for instance. I mean, there are a lot of challenges with India, but
Yeah.
um, Middle East, obviously Dubai and UAE continues to be a huge driver of tourism into the region. Morocco is booming for group, as for in your world. Jordan is back after all the challenges in Middle East. Egypt is back after all the challenges in Middle East. So yeah, and those are obviously a lot cheaper places than honestly. Again, this is the equation. Like, it, do I take a 6 hour flight from here to California or Oregon or wherever, Washington State? Or do I take a 6 hour flight this way to Europe
Yeah.
or to South America,
Yeah.
um, or to the Caribbean, and um, and get much better value for money?
Yeah.
So I think the value for money part, which again is a cliche but is real, is that internet and hopefully AI just makes the value for money part more transparent, as in um, I have more resources to figure out how to make my dollar go further.
Mm.
The other variable has been that most of the loyalty points, and I think at this point everybody knows, is total scam. Like, it's just that's a strong word, but um, in the sense that the loyalty currencies have been devalued. This is particularly true in airlines, but also in hotels at this point. And so again, the story and research that we have done is that credit card loyalty is now um, in US is at the same level now that these hotel and airline loyalty programs, is just because people are tired of being devalued.
Yeah.
And obviously, whether it's Chase Sapphire Reserve or Amex Platinum or Capital One Venture X or whatever others the banks are, they're becoming more and more popular as an option to gain their points
Hmm.
to then spend on travel
Yeah.
or anything else, but usually travel. And obviously, they're booming.
Yeah. That makes sense. So, do you see any way forward where some of this resolves? And if so, what role do people in tourism have to play here?
I think there has to be concerted understanding that middle class needs options on terms of payments or packages or flexibility,
Hmm.
um, without necessarily like trying to reinvent everything. And so BNPL, which is buy now, pay later, became a thing a few years ago. A lot of problems with that from a consumer debt perspective, from, again, probably beyond my expertise at this point. But um, I do think a flexibility in payments and packages from tour operators or travel industry in general, and particularly tour operators, because they have the size of the package and is large enough that there's opportunity for flexibility. Um, I think will be one way that the industry brings the middle class back. Because again, this is, at least this part of the American dream is still alive, which is that everybody in middle class dreams to graduate out of middle class, and a lot of them will.
Yeah.
And so as they move up the value chain, they will keep spending with the brands that do, or at least will graduate to higher offerings of the brands that offer that flexibility. So I feel like it's a long term. There's no quick fix, but I think it's a long term bet that, which is why I think group travel has a better chance, because of the economies of scale in which it operates. It still has the ability to negotiate lower rates than you as an FIT traveler will do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And honestly, I think, in an age where people are more isolated, et cetera, so all the stuff that we've also written about, a lot more single people in the world, group travel should have a bright future for all these reasons, including loneliness, including affordability, including opportunity to create long-lasting community, friendships, etc.
Yeah. Well, we see those same things, and we're optimistic for those same reasons. So I'm glad to hear you share that optimism. I could talk to you about this all day. I'm going to let you get on to other things. What is the best way for people to follow your work or get involved with the Skift community?
Well, I mean, easyskift.com. So definitely there's the daily newsletter. We have over the years become primarily subscription site. So if you do want to get the full benefit of Skift, our daily news or research, just go to skift.com. You'll see it. I am very active now only on one social platform, which is LinkedIn. And so if you search for my name, you'll see me there, follow me, connect with me, etc. So I share a lot of things about travel. And then our conferences that we do, our big one, it's a Skift Global Forum in New York. It's where all the big CEOs come. It's sort of a big picture view of where travel is and where it's heading. And then we do conferences on AI, or we do regional conferences in Asia or Middle East, India, etc.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, we will link to all those resources in our show notes. Before we let you go, we have some questions we ask everybody, and these are just for fun. So no pressure.
Let's do it. Yes.
When you book travel, do you book a window seat or an aisle seat?
Aisle seat.
Yeah. And what's the thought process there?
Just I'm getting older and I need to go pee. that's the simple thought process.
You and me both, buddy. I was on a 3-hour flight the other day, and I found myself in the bathroom twice in 3 hours.
Yeah, I got to do what you got to do. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. What's one thing in your carry-on you would not travel without?
Oh, the thing that I'm having, tea.
Oh, yeah?
So I'm Indian, so I have the chai, what they call. And so I carry my own tea bags. I carry my own milk. Like, I carry everything except hot water. I even carry like a hot water element, like the heater element.
Yeah.
So I have my cup, everything.
Yeah. So you don't have to count on anybody else to get your tea right. If they can get you
water. Yeah, except water. If they can get me water, I can boil it if I have an electric plug.
Yeah.
And then I can do everything else.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, if you had a free airline pass and a week with nothing else going on, where would you go?
If it was short haul, I would go to Puerto Rico, just because I love Puerto Rico. There's just so many great parts of it. It's not the beach that I'm talking about. It's actually the mountains and the other parts that I'm talking about. If it's a long haul, I would Socotra Island off the coast of Yemen is this island that is unfortunately in the news right now because of some of the challenges going on there, but is one of the most remote islands in the world and has the most unique flora and fauna in the world because it's so isolated. and Yemen is obviously tons of war and stuff going on. But they were until recently flights from Abu Dhabi. There, we just got canceled and they got moved to Riyadh, but that's a whole different. But Socotra Island is where I would love to go with my son, who's turning 11. So a dad and a son trip in the near future when things settle down.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. Hope you're able to do that. My last question, what is something you have seen or done on the road that you wish you could experience again with somebody you love?
We did this with my wife in 2014 or something. We went to Algeria, my wife and I, and went to the Sahara Desert. And we didn't know this, but in this town, there was this, what we later learned was an annual music festival of North African Tuareg, which is the Tuareg tribe's music.
Wow.
And it was such a surreal experience. And we went with this French couple who knew a little bit of English. And it's like the locals dancing in their full like tribal garb with like electric guitar musicians on stage, because that's the sort of the music that happens there. But they play the guitar in a little different way. And it was the most surreal experience that we had, and would love to do that again.
That sounds amazing. Well, Rafat, it's been a pleasure having you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Brian.
Hey, thanks so much for joining us for this interview. I want to let you know that conversations like this are just part of what you will hear if you tune into a full episode of the Gather and Go podcast. When you listen, you'll get travel news you may not hear anywhere else, along with some really helpful road tips, some smart analysis, and maybe even a hot take from me about issues that are impacting travel right now. Now, you can hear this full episode along with many others by searching for Gather and Go in your favorite podcast player, or you can click on the link right below this video or one of the videos right here to my side. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.